everyone, thanks for coming back to share another episode with us. So recently I had shared with you all that we had taken Echo to get an x-ray of his back leg, and in the x-ray we discovered that he had it actually ended up being 1 pound, but a 4-inch tumor was on his spleen, and so he had the surgery, and he was recovering really well. And then yesterday, I ran an errand, and I came home, and of course, Braden's in the office gaming with his headset, so he has no clue what's going on in the living room. And I discovered Echo eating a brand new, never opened roll of Pillsbury biscuits that I had thrown in the garbage when I was cleaning out the refrigerator. Now, I didn't take the garbage bag out to the garage. I figured it was only half full, so I was going to just put some more garbage in there. But apparently it fell over and the roll of biscuit dough rolled out. Somehow he popped a hole into the cardboard wrapping. And then, of course, once it's open, it just starts to ooze out the split. And so the funny thing was, when I came in the door, he came running up to me from the living room. And he had like a very ashamed look on his face. And I was like,
yeah, they know when they've done it.
Yes.
Done something wrong.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
And so I was like, oh, shoot, because he still, is recovering from the surgery. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe he was licking his incision because I was only going to run a quick errand. And I didn't put the cone of shame on him like I really, really should have. Mm-hmm. It's just he doesn't calm down or sleep or anything when he's wearing the cone. So I thought, I'll just not put it on. And anyways, no, he wasn't licking his incision. He was eating the dough that was oozing out of it. And I ran over to the container and picked it up and like secretly praying that it was going to be heavy and full. And it was so empty. So Braden ended up ripping it open the rest of the way, and we could see at least 7 of the biscuits had been eaten. And of course I panicked. I called Steve to let him know what's going on, and then we both agreed we needed to call the vet, because more so than it being an expired, it was dough. And Braden and I were just thinking dough, the raw dough just like blowing up in his stomach. And I mean, his stomach has to be so little. He's just like, a 7-pound Yorkie. So anyhow,
a very expensive 7-pound.
Yes, he is getting to be so expensive. And I thought, oh my gosh. I called Granite Bay Veterinary Clinic, and I'm thinking, please don't refer me to the emergency pet hospital, Marqueen, which they were wonderful. They did echo surgery. It's just when you take them to an emergency hospital, it's so much more.
Triple, yeah.
Yeah, like triple what it would cost. And so Granite Bay Veterinary Clinic said to bring them in immediately. So I'm like, okay, let me just cancel all my afternoon plans.
Oh, man, I was wondering what you did yesterday.
Yeah, that's what we did. We were there for 4 hours. At some point, they came out and said they had given him a shot of this fluid that's supposed to induce vomiting. And she said, so far, we've only gotten him to throw up about 2 biscuits. And so what they had done was measured how much was remaining in the container, because I took it with us. Yeah. And then she was measuring the throw up to kind of get an idea of how much was still left in his stomach.
What a lovely job that is.
I know. Oh my gosh. Well,
measuring bile.
Right? Stomach junk. Oh my gosh. So so then she came out and said that he had thrown up about 2 biscuits worth, and then apparently right. And so then she went back and she goes, we're going to give him some medication to calm down the nausea, and it will make him really sleepy. But she said we want to monitor him for like another hour and a half. So anyhow, the cool thing is that I was always really curious, like what the tumor looked like, and like not to gross anybody out. So like public service announcement, if you get grossed out. They were able to pull up an image of the tumor. So there was a 4-inch tumor, a 2-inch tumor, originating from the spleen. So they removed the spleen also. And like, I am not joking. This was so startling.
Wow.
Like it was like this big in the x-ray. So it showed 6 inches. And just like how I had showed, like the tumor was a massive, like purple, bloody Oh, it was crazy. Anyways, it was really fascinating though. I'm always like super fascinated by stuff like that.
She is.
I don't know.
You still haven't gotten the pathology report, right?
No,
Yeah.
and actually they said we should have it by now. So I did reach out to Granite Bay Veterinary Clinic, and they're going to reach out to Marqueen to see if they have the results. So we're still praying that it's not cancer. We don't think it is because,
he's running all around and jumping all around and acts fine.
I know.
He does not act sick at all. So
No.
I'm almost sure
that
or
he's
positive that is benign.
Yeah, I do believe so too. It's
Yeah.
like hard to keep him calm because it's only been just over a week since he had the surgery. And so they're telling him, telling us, don't let him run up the stairs, don't let him jump off the couch. And it's like, he's not even acting like he even had a surgery. But anyhow, so we ended up going back at 4:30 and picking him up. And she said by that point he had thrown up 4 biscuits worth. And so anyhow, we just brought him home and monitored him. And
he's doing good today.
Yeah.
So, when I came over here, he's just like barking and wagging his tail and, wanting me to pet him. And
he's so resilient.
Not acting like a thing has happened.
I know. I'm like, gosh, okay, no more medical bills.
Yeah, yesterday must have been medical day because I was on the phone. I had a video visit with my oncologist, and I had done a PET scan a week ago. And so then we have to go over my PET scan, and I always know when things are starting to change because as soon as the immunotherapy, I have all the side effects from it. I get tons of things. I get my mouth. It's mostly my mouth. It's you get dry mouth. You get sores in your mouth. You get dry eyeballs. You get your tongue is messed up. It's just there's all these things, and it seems like as soon as I get back to normal, not to mention taste. Your taste is messed up and all that. As soon as my taste gets back and my mouth gets back to normal and everything gets back to normal, then things start happening. And so I can tell my back, hurts, and I can tell I have a tightness in my stomach. And so anyway, so the oncologist wanted me to have another PET scan, of course. So that's what I did last week. And so we went over it yesterday, and she just had said that the disease is progressing, and she says, I have options. And I said, I realize that. I said, but I really don't want to do more chemos. I've done chemo, kind of done with it all. And obviously I can't do immunotherapies because we've tried 3 different ones and they just don't work. They just blow my body up. So anyway, so that was my day yesterday. To say I wasn't in the best of moods, I would say. I was just kind of like, thinking things over and really just thinking about how I want to enjoy every day. And part of it is doing this podcast with you and getting to spend so much time with you. Yes. And so that was my day yesterday.
Oh my gosh. And they're always encouraging her to do more treatment and
of course. I mean, that's the doctors, that's their job. That is to to lengthen out your life as much as possible. And I feel already lucky, like we've talked about before, because I've already gone 6.5 years, so and done pretty well the 6.5 years. I've had the ups and downs and all that, but at least I haven't gotten so bad that I was like down. It takes a lot to get you down all the way.
I mean, honestly, it seems like the only time you've been down is when you're on the treatment, when you're doing the chemo
it is.
Or the immunotherapy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're like a machine. Like, she just amazes me. She just goes and goes and goes, and you wouldn't even know that she has cancer. It's just so crazy to me that
that's my goal.
Yeah.
My goal has always been nobody can tell that I have cancer, and that's what I like. I like that goal. Yeah, that's
sure.
That's just me. I think that's just how I deal with it.
Yeah, some people are very open about it, or they post a lot about their journey, and
I don't. Yes, it's actually this podcast is
Yeah.
the first time I ever even, got it out there at all.
I
So
know, and I
people
thought
are probably going to be shocked a little bit when they see this.
Yeah.
They don't even know.
For sure. And I appreciate you being very vulnerable and, authentic
Out
about
there.
it. Yeah, because when we talked about doing the podcast together, I was worried that she would just want to keep that part private. And I just feel like does such a disservice to people that watch it and don't know that she's this joyful and this, active, with a disease. And so I think that other people can go, well, I have a disease. Maybe I need to get out there and live and make the most of every minute and, and find gratitude in every day that you feel good and the things you do have, you know.
I agree.
So
I totally agree.
I appreciate you
thank you so
pushing
much.
through and being honest because I know it's hard for you to talk about it. And
yeah, I don't like to because it just kind of makes it real, I guess.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I just don't talk about it very much, but so that sounds like our days yesterday.
If we could do a do-over, that would be great.
I know, right? Do a do-over.
Better
day.
news and me taking the garbage bag out to the garage instead of leaving it in the kitchen.
I know, right?
Anyways, well, today we wanted to talk about something that we know everybody can relate to. And if you can't relate to the story,
lucky you.
Yes, exactly. Because Cynthia and I were talking about some different topics and different things, and we always want to try to be really relatable and, of course, very honest. Sometimes we give TMI, but one of the things that we had thrown around talking about was having something stolen. And when we started talking about it, we were just getting more frustrated, because it's such an annoying feeling. It's like such a violating feeling when somebody steals something of yours. And so we just came up with a couple of stories that we shared with each other. And so we thought, why don't we just share these funny stories? I mean, now we can laugh about it.
Now we can.
Yeah.
At the time, not so much.
No, totally. And I mean, honestly, I'm still resentful and I'm still annoyed and... Excuse me, I wish that person could have gotten caught. But anyways, so this all started when I was probably 24, and I had a roommate, and we had a party at our apartment, and we invited all of our friends, and we even told our friends, if you want to bring a friend, that's fine too, the more the merrier. So we were having this party, and people are coming in, and people are bringing some of their own drinks, and, everyone's just getting lively. You got music playing, and we're all kind of just doing our thing, and one of our friends shows up with a friend, and he had a black duffel bag, and so I was kind of like,
it's a little strange.
Yeah, is he planning on staying the night? And so I had a little
No, that's funny, because back then... you would think, is he planning on staying the night? And nowadays, you would think, does he have an AR-15 in there?
Oh my gosh! No, I didn't even think about that. Yes, because back then we don't have taxis. Yeah, we don't have taxis. We don't have Uber or Lyft.
Oh my
so
gosh.
it was a lot of the times when we would go and to a friend's party, we would stay the night. And I think it's more of a girl thing than a guy thing.
Exactly.
But the thing is that it wasn't like it was our friend that had brought in a duffel bag. It was his friend that had brought in a duffel bag. So I had a little bit of liquid courage, and so then I just thought it was odd, and I said, are you planning on staying the night? Because we only had a 2-bedroom apartment, and it wasn't like we had a lot of room, And he was like, oh, no, I brought some alcohol. And I was like, oh, thank you. Do you want me to put it in the refrigerator? And he's like, no, I'm good. I can do that. And I was like, okay, well, that seemed odd. But honestly, we were having so much fun, and I honestly didn't think much more about it. I just thought maybe he wanted to, take care of his alcohol himself. So anyways, that was it, right? The party's over, and the next day I go to grab my favorite necklace, which back in the day, there was this jewelry piece called a charm catcher. And so you would take your chain, it was like a rope chain, and then you would slide this charm holder on it. And then you would unhook it, and then you can load it with every kind of charm you want. And so when I got that, it was like everybody in my family and all my friends would buy me a 14-karat gold charm to add on to the charm catcher. So it would be anything that I was into. It could be like a little saying. It could be, my initial or or whatever. But I honestly had at least 20 14 karat gold charms hanging from this 14 karat gold charm catcher on a 14 karat gold rope chain, and I loved that sucker. And I hadn't worn it the night of the party, but the next day I was going to wear it out and about. And so I reached into, so on my dresser I had these two little doors, and in one of them I had this little ceramic jar, and I took the lid off and I was going to get my jewelry out of there. When I opened the door on my dresser, the entire ceramic jar with the lid on it was completely gone.
The whole thing was gone.
The whole thing was gone.
My
And
gosh.
I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I ran out to my roommate and I'm like, are you missing anything? And she's like, no, I'm not. And so, anyways, I was devastated. So that night I go to bed and I'm just thinking about it. And I'm so angry and I'm so disappointed. And it's like, the thing that was the most frustrating though was that these were all of our friends and a friend of our friends.
Yes.
And the fact that they would steal something while we're welcoming them into our home and, you know, sharing food and everything with them, like, it was just terrible. But I'm laying in bed and I'm like, gosh, this is just so frustrating and I'm so disappointed. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I have two cubby doors on my dresser. It was the hutch that had the doors in it.
Yeah.
And I jumped out of bed because in this cubby with the door was my Holly Hobby jewelry box that I had from when I was a little kid. And inside that jewelry box was nothing of value. It was all like keepsakes and fake little rings I had gotten out of the, 25-cent machine and stuff. But it was sentimental.
Oh, yeah, for you. Definitely.
Yeah, because I'm super sentimental. And so...
She throws nothing away.
No, I keep everything. Very organized, but I have a hard time.
She's an organized hoarder.
Yes, very. Yes, I know, right? That will be another episode, too. But anyhow, I jumped out of bed and opened up the cubby door on that side of the hutch, and my fears were true. They literally had stolen my Holly Hobby jewelry box.
Oh, my gosh.
And
what the heck are they going to do with that?
I know. I mean, honestly...
And you're sure it was that guy? How do you know?
No, I don't know. There's no way for me to know it was
almost
that
feels
guy.
like it was a girl.
I think they probably just wanted the money for it, just to hawk it. How would any of my friends gotten out?
What are you going to get from a Holly Hobby?
No, but I think he
jewelry
didn't
box?
open it.
Yeah.
I think if he would have opened it and saw just a bunch of, like, kids' jewelry, he wouldn't have stolen it. But I think he was probably just thinking, like, I got into the bedroom, I found a couple of jewelry things, I need to get out of here. And I'm just assuming it was the guy with the duffel bag. I have no way to prove it. But, like, the fact that he brought the duffel bag, it just seemed sketchy. And so, anyhow, I still don't know if he was the one, but either way, I'm missing my Holly Hobby jewelry box that was super special to me with all my little mementos.
Yeah, those are things you can never get back.
One of the things that I remember I had in that jewelry box, my dad had bought me a shell ring from Bodega Bay, and that was in there. And of course, it's no value. I mean, it was probably $5.
It's value to you, though.
Yeah, it was super special. So anyways, if you're listening to this podcast and you robbed us, in Sacramento, like...
I want my shell ring.
Yeah, I want my shell ring, and I want my 14-karat gold necklace with all my charms. Literally, I had 14-karat gold bracelets in there, too. Like, back then, 14-karat gold was the thing.
Yes, it was really big.
So I had just a ton of bracelets, like ones that had hearts and teddy bears.
And you took all those?
Oh, we took the whole jar.
Whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
and that was, like, my everyday jewelry.
Right.
So, anyways. Well, her story is... crazy. So, take it away, because this is grab some popcorn.
So, yeah. And a Coke.
Yeah.
So, my worst story of anything being stolen was I'm at work, and we had an underground parking garage that you parked under. And so, you park there every day, and so don't think anything of it. No. And at the end of the workday, I, go down the steps and go down to where my car was, and I'm like, and we didn't have like assigned parking spots. You just parked wherever, was open when you got there. So anyway, so I went on, I looked to where I, had thought I parked my car, and I'm looking and I'm like, didn't I park there today? I'm sure I did. And I'm kind of looking a little ways down, and I'm like not seeing my car. And I look back over where my car was, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there is a pile of broken glass. So I'm like, somebody ripped my car off. They busted the window and got in and hot wired my car, right? So I was like, wow, this is crazy, because I had a car stolen before when I had my 280Z.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I didn't know you had 2 cars stolen.
2 cars.
I've
It's
never
like,
had a car
oh.
stolen. I would have had
Yeah.
it broken into, but not stolen.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I've had the
I'm
whole
so
stolen.
sorry.
Yeah, that one at least they found it, and they just Joy wrote in it, and I got it back, and it was fine. So
oh,
that
thank
one was
goodness.
fine. So this one, I'm thinking to myself, what, again?
Oh my gosh.
And it's such a horrible feeling
Yes.
that your car is gone.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Like, I was devastated by my jewelry, but
Yeah,
your
can you
vehicle.
imagine your car?
Yeah, that's a lot more
It is.
expensive.
Ugh. So I go back upstairs, and my manager and everybody's still up there, and I'm like, oh my God, my car's gone. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, somebody ripped off my car. So we call the police and all that, and they just take a report over the phone. And luckily, the manager there, at that time, for our sales reps, they had 4 Tauruses there that they allowed the sales reps to drive. They didn't drive their own cars. They drove the company cars.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and so there was an extra one, and he said, you know what, just take the keys and use this extra car so you can get home, and, use the car till we figure out what to do. So anyway, 3 days later, the police calls, and they say, we found your car. And I'm like, oh, good. Where, is it back? Is it in, do you guys have it impounded? What's going on?
Yeah.
And they said, no, well, we found it in Redding, which is like about 3 hours from here, parked in front of the police station with the engine running. And they literally just ripped off everything they could out, just ruined the whole car.
Oh, like
they tore,
took it apart.
Well, they tore like the seats with a knife.
Oh!
The roof, they took a knife and just ripped it to shreds.
Oh my God, I didn't know that part of the story.
They-
That's just cold.
Yeah, like
That
they
is
just did everything. Like there was nothing to steal in the car. Nothing. I don't keep
Maybe
stuff
they
in
were
my
just
car.
mad at you because you
Or-
didn't keep a laptop or.
Or I didn't close their escrow right or something.
Oh, right.
I don't know. But they literally, so your console here with like your air conditioning and all,
Yeah.
they like bashed it all
Oh, my
in. Yeah, they just
gosh.
like tore it up, right?
That's
they
just
flattened
mean.
the tires and all this stuff. So anyway, so they're getting ready to tow it, and they just said, well, where do you want us to tow it to? So I called the word I had bought the car. So the car was only like a year and a couple months old. So it was a pretty new car still. So I called the shop or the dealership that I bought it from, and they had a body shop, and they said, have it towed back here. We'll have the body shop work on it, blah, blah, blah. So they have it towed back, and this place actually was really nice. And I think at that time, I was still driving the Ford Taurus. My company let me drive it for like a month, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I had to give the car back. So my car is in the shop. Well, it's in the shop for a month after month after month. I mean, it's going on forever. So I went back to the dealership, and I said, I need a car. I go, my company's let me, use this Ford Taurus for all this time, but you're taking so long to get this done.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't, I think because the car was so new, they wouldn't total it.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, they said it wasn't, like the frame wasn't bent. It was more like all cosmetic things inside.
Yes.
But literally, they said they were piecing that car back together.
Oh, I mean, seriously, like just even the roof and the dashboard
Oh, they
and all
bashed
the components.
the windshields,
Oh my
everything.
gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, so months are going by. So the guys, I said, I need a car, and I can't afford to rent a car while this is being done. And he said, you know what? I'm gonna let you drive one of our cars.
Oh, that was.
So I go, really? And he goes, yeah. So he just literally hands me keys to a car.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't even sign a paper or anything.
Wow, they
It
were
was
so trusting back then.
I don't know. I mean, what if I would have got a wreck or something?
I
don't
know.
But anyway, so I drove this car. So it took 5 months for them to get this car fixed. And I would call the guy. I still remember the guy's name was Kevin. He worked in the body shop, and I'd call him like every month. How are we doing? You know, and he'd be like, oh, I'm piecing together your air conditioning, unit. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm thinking to myself, this car is not going to be very
same.
good, right,
Yeah.
when I get it back. But
I
it's
feel like it's like a Lego puzzle they're like putting together.
It's like what I can't do anything because the insurance company won't total it out. So they're saying it still could be, fixed better. So anyway, 5 months go by, and the day before, Kevin had called me. He called me at work, and he said, we are just waiting for your windshield to come in, and we are going to be done. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
That has to feel so good.
I'm so glad after all this time, I'm finally going to get my car back.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm the next day, I'm getting ready for work. I always have the news on. And I'm always listening to like the weather and all that kind of stuff, right? So anyway, I'm listening to the news. I'm in the bathroom, so I'm not watching it. I'm just listening to it. And I'm hearing it. And I hear about a body shop on fire that night on the same street that I had my car on. And I'm like, did I hear that right? And I'm like, oh my God, no way. So I ran over to the TV and I'm watching it. It is the body shop that my car is at. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, you are freaking kidding me. So I called Kevin right away and I said, oh my gosh, I am watching the news. Is that true? Did your body shop go up in flames last night? And he goes, yes, it's true. And he goes, 5 cars were completely destroyed and yours was one of them.
I'm sorry for laughing. I've heard this story before. And I just think it is so crazy and so random. And after 5 months of piecing that car back together, and all they had to do was the windshield.
And he even said, out of every car that was destroyed, I'm more upset about yours because I worked on your car for 5 freaking months.
Totally.
To put it back together. And I said, well, at least, the car's totaled.
He didn't have to deal with a car that
and I
was
said,
like,
I'm going to be like the number 1 suspect.
oh my gosh, I didn't think about that.
Because
Yeah.
I kind of didn't want my car back.
Oh,
I
my
wanted
gosh.
a new car, right?
Yeah, hopefully they didn't think
I
it was
know.
like arson.
No,
Or...
they knew. They could tell. They knew I didn't.
They didn't know
right?
it.
But he was kind of saying, "Oh, you're going to be number 1 suspect." You
Oh
know?
my gosh.
So I said, anyway. So I had to call my farmer's insurance company, and he had actually been in contact, of course, with the company. Is it done? Because they have to write the final check.
Yeah.
They had been in touch with him saying how it was going to be done, and so I called my insurance agent and I told him the whole story. And he couldn't even believe it. He's like, you are kidding me? He goes, I have never had something like this happen before. And I go, well, start over because now it's totaled. And so they had to start the whole claim all over again. So, yeah, I got a totaled car, and then I got to go buy another car.
A brand new car.
Well, I didn't buy a brand new, but I bought another new car to me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But what a fiasco.
That is so crazy. Like, I've never heard a story like that ever.
I don't think anybody's ever.
No, the fact that it
happened.
took so long to put together and then just have the entire thing burn up.
I mean,
What are the odds that an auto body shop would catch on fire?
And that my car was inside. So
Yeah.
it was the cars that were inside were the only ones
Yeah,
that got
because the ones that
burnt.
were outside.
The ones that were done
in the
and
parking
outside,
lot. They didn't.
they didn't get burnt. It was
Oh.
only the ones on the inside. And he said yours was on the inside because we were waiting for the windshield to come in that morning and we were going to put it in. It was going to be done.
Yeah.
And all
You're
that.
gonna get your car.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And he didn't even get the gratification to see you be like, oh my gosh, Kevin, you did such a great job on my car.
Right.
You know?
It was,
It
burnt
was
to
like
a crisp.
all for naught. Oh my gosh. Okay, so when we were throwing around our stories, I actually started thinking about something, and I was like, I actually have stolen something.
You?
Uh-huh. And
Little
it was
Miss Holly Hobby stuff?
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, but I'm going to preface this with I didn't know that I had stolen something, and this is a cautionary tale, okay? I'm just going to say that because what I ended up finding out I had stolen was someone's boyfriend. And let me just paint a picture.
Okay.
So, one of my best friends from high school had a boyfriend. He worked at our favorite fast food restaurant at the time. And she asked me to go with her to visit her boyfriend. And I was like, yeah, we can eat dinner and hang out. So we did. Well, there was a guy that was working with her boyfriend that spotted me. And he asked my friend's boyfriend, who's that girl? And he's like, that is one of my girlfriend's best friends. And he's like, would you introduce me? Okay, so he ends up introducing us, and we totally hit it off, and we started dating, right? Well, he was the sweetest guy. I think we were together for probably 9 months, but I just wasn't really ready to, like, settle down, and I was kind of enjoying, you know, just having some freedom. I just graduated high school and was working, and so anyways, I ended up breaking up with him, and it was, of course, very hard for me to do that, but I did, okay? So one day, I am working at the mall, Sunrise Mall, and I see this girl approaching me, and I'm thinking, oh, she wants to know if we carry something she's looking for. And that was not the case. She literally says, you didn't think I'd forget about you, did you? And she punched me as hard as she could, like right here.
Oh my God, in your stomach?
Yeah, it was like right up, like in my sternum. Like, I never knew what it meant when somebody said they got like the wind knocked out of them. Wow. Until it happens to you, you do not understand that. Like, every single speck of air in your lungs is no longer in there, and you feel like your lungs are, like, gone or collapsed.
And usually a girl would, like, slap you.
I know.
You know, not, like, punch you in the gut.
I guess I'm glad she punched me instead of slapping me. Because she was a stocky, short little thing, and I was thinking in my mind, I don't even know who you are. Like,
oh my God.
So when she says, you didn't think I'd forget about you, did you? My mind is kind of racing until I am flat on my back on the ground with the wind knocked out of me, and the girl is gone.
Store?
Yeah, I am in the store. I was working at Lerner in the mall, and one of my friends, like, heard this going on that I worked with, and she come running over, and I am, like, trying to take a breath, and I just remember, like, just being able to take, like, a tiny little breath, a tiny little breath, a tiny little breath, and I'm trying to let my friend that I work with know, like, this girl just took off, so...
Oh, she took off, huh?
Yeah, she took off running out the mall entrance, so anyways, turns out that this is the ex-girlfriend of the guy that I was dating.
Oh, wow.
And she didn't know that I had already broken up with him. And I guess she had, like, had this vendetta against me this whole time.
For 9 months?
Yes! And she figured out where I worked.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it was terrible. So when I got home, my dad, he was kind of really mad, and so basically he was like, we need to get a hold of her parents, and unfortunately, like, she did not have a good upbringing. Her grandma had raised her, so my dad insisted she come over to the house and, like, talk about this, because my dad wanted to press charges, and apparently she was a minor. She was, like, a year younger than me, and so anyways, we couldn't really do anything about it, but the thing is that I had to call and, like, get information about this girl and to tell him that she punched me, and he was so apologetic because, you know, we weren't even together anymore, so anyhow, it was just a fiasco, but anyways, I wished I would have known he had a girlfriend, because I wouldn't had pursued him as furiously as I had, because we just hit it off so well.
Yeah.
We were just kind of inseparable.
Well, he probably just dumped her for you, is what it was.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally.
So, in your defense, you didn't do it intentionally.
No.
Right?
No.
You just did it.
Thank you.
Not even knowing.
I had no idea.
That he was already taken.
He had a girlfriend.
And that he had a girlfriend and all that, and that she was short and stubby.
Yeah, she was. She was powerful, let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure she was.
I I'd never been punched in my whole
Oh my
life.
gosh,
and-
especially not. I have never been punched, but
No.
to be punched right there.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was terrible. It was terrible. So anyways, I like
Gosh.
to joke that I stole something, but I
that's
didn't. I
funny.
really never stole anything else. I just
Yeah.
happened to steal
Somebody's
guy.
boyfriend.
Yeah, a boyfriend away.
Yeah, you
but,
probably did that a few times. You probably don't even know.
oh man, I imagine if they punched me, I would have known about it. But don't anybody ever punch me again. That was
I know.
terrible.
That is terrible. Well, gosh, we hope your week has been better.
I know, right? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we hope all your animals are safe
I
and
know.
nobody gets any bad pet scan results, and you
right?
guys can probably commiserate with us on having something stolen. If you guys want to share your crazy
Your
stolen
stolen stories.
yeah, just message us or comment. But anyhow, well, we
Yeah.
enjoyed hanging out with you
We
guys
did.
again, and we
Yeah.
always appreciate you.
Yeah, it makes our day. to
Yeah,
share with
catching
you.
our
So,
podcast.
Yes,
And
yes.
we hope we'll see you guys on our next podcast.
Yeah.
Until then,
Yeah.
mwah.
Bye.
Have a great week. Bye.